Let's start tonight's meeting with a roll call from Ryan Cummins.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. Crawford?
Here.
All right, Bauk?
Here.
Kabasiak?
Here.
All right, you have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
All right. We have our agenda in front of us tonight. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda as written that anyone wants to make? I have none. None? Richard, you got any? No. Nothing? Zoning administrator, you're good with that?
No changes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as for the October 13th meeting as written. If I can get a second.
I'll second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, agenda is approved as tonight is written. Next item is item 3, approval of minutes of the August 11th, 2022 meeting. I was not in attendance.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I have two amendments I would like to make to the minutes of the previous meeting.
Sure.
In number 5, paragraph B, it says where there's a maximum height of 20 feet. That should say 28 feet, I believe.
Okay, under B, summary of
Summary of interim zoning administrator, it says where the maximum height of 20 feet is allowed in the last sentence.
Okay.
That should say 28 feet.
Okay.
And then in item number 10, meeting adjourned at 6:30. It was adjourned by Mr. Bont, the vice chairman. Kubashik was not in attendance.
Mr. Bonds, yes. Okay,
bond adjourn the meeting.
okay.
Other than that, I would move that the minutes be approved as amended.
I'll second your approval, even though I wasn't attending, but that's needed a second. So as chairman, I will second that. So all those in favor of approving the minutes for the August 11th, 2022 meeting as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And approval and minutes have been amended. Okay. Gets us to number 4, new business tonight. We have before us an application from 2021 Water Street. There is a side and rear yard setback request. And what I'd like to do is usually. Am I missing something, or maybe I'm forgetting? Was there usually any comments, public comments before we go to new business? No, was there? It's always just at the end, right? Public comments are only at the end, right?
We have public comments regarding the application as item D.
No, I know, but
But
I
at the
was
end,
thinking
it's-
there was chance for comments before, but I guess not as a way to it. Okay. So in new business, what would like to do is call the public hearing to order and ask for a summary by the zoning administrator as the application is submitted to us and also to the people in the audience.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. The applicant, Mr. Plum, who is here this evening, resides at 221 Water Street. His property is located in the Water Street East District. The lot is approximately 40 feet wide, 90 feet deep, and a single-family detached home exists on the site. The applicant is requesting variances for 3 projects at the subject address, including a 10-foot by 10-foot shed with a 0-foot side and rear setback instead of the minimum 10-foot setback requirement, a deck with a 0-foot side setback instead of the minimum 7-foot setback, and a hot tub with a 0-foot side setback instead of the minimum 7-foot setback. There, I think, turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman, to hear some further detail from the applicant on their proposed project.
Okay. All right, now we've got a few different things to go through here tonight. So what I would like to do at that point then, I would like to ask the applicant to if we'd like to make a presentation of what the items are in front of us, the different items? Yeah, okay.
Good evening, Board, Zoning Board of Appeals, and thank you for your time. Thank you, Ryan, and Ryan also for your time for being here. I am the owner of 221 Water Street, just right down around the corner. And my grandparents purchased that property in 1927. So what brings me here? What it is that really our lot is a very non-conforming lot with its size, 40 by 90. That is the big part that ends up bringing me here looking for a variance for the setbacks. I have been here before. I was here for a variance for my porch, which had a 7-foot setback. And it was some time ago. I've been working on the house many years to get it completed and have been here before and also before historical. And the variance was approved. Ever since I inherited the project in 2012, I've always wanted to have a hot tub, a shed, and a deck in the backyard. And what it is that, I mean, we don't have a garage. You know, I've got nowhere to put. I really want to clean the yard up. I want to, you know, I've got a snow blower, I've got all the tools, I've got everything for working on the house and stuff. And it would be great to have a shed in the back in order to place this to clean the area up. I don't have a lot of storage in the house. Obviously, it's a fairly small house. The non-conforming of the lot, it was the size of the lot that was bought when my grandparents got it. It was that size before. And I haven't changed it at all. And in relationship to, and we'll get into this, we'll go over the standards, is just that with the setbacks, a 10-foot setback with a 10 by 10 shed, and also the deck and everything, it would move it literally right into the middle of my yard. And which would be hard to deal with. Plus also then I've got a driveway that goes right down, which takes 10 feet off the width of the lot, which then makes it 30 feet. So, and I use the back lot sometimes for extra parking and things like that. The hot tub, the shed, and the deck are all permitted purpose uses. If I didn't have a non-conforming lot, I wouldn't be here, because if I had a big enough lot, then I wouldn't have to have a variance. A lot of the buildings that are around me that are commercial have bigger lots, and they have sheds, or they have, you know, they got apartments, they've got, you know, stores. The Wilcox is right next to me. With their size lot, they're able to have a garage and they have an apartment above it, you know, that they use and stuff like that. So that is what gets me here, is the desire to have those things put into place. Is there any question on that whatsoever? No.
Not any of you guys, you know, anybody?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
Good with that so far, Dan?
In relationship to the 4 qualifying answers for the standards for, I sent a letter with, and nothing's really changed off of that. Would you like me to go over those questions and I can read what I wrote, or?
Are you saying, there's your response to?
My response to, yeah.
I would say that I believe I don't know if you have read them.
I've read them.
Yeah,
yes.
you've read them all?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
so
you've read your response.
you're aware of them and all that.
Pretty good
Okay.
on that. Yeah.
There's a few things with it that, one thing, that the deck is literally going to be a foot off the ground. So as you walk down the steps of the porch, because I didn't want it being up high, because then I'm looking over the fence and stuff like that. So it's down literally a foot off the ground. The shed, we've been looking at sheds a lot lately, and we've gone to 3 different manufacturers and stuff like that to purchase one. And I have a meeting with historical November 5th, I believe that's the date, to talk to them about the shed somewhat. The only difference is when I applied for the shed, I applied for a 10 by 10 shed. And I'm just putting this out there, if there's a chance that I could possibly have a 10 by 12. And the reason is just literally for storage and getting a lot more stuff in there. When we first looked at a 10 by 10, we were calling companies, they said, you get a lot more space in an 8 by 12 than you do a 10 by 10. But as we look around, we see the 10 by 12s, it would give us a lot more room to move things into there and stuff like that. And it's just an extra 2 feet. That's a lot of what I have to say. Everything that I'm looking at putting in is in the backyard, so will not be seen. I have talked to my 3 neighbors. My 4th neighbor is sitting right here. The wonderful, lovely Sandra Randall. In talking to Lisa, Lisa said to me, who owns she owns the spice store and she owns Charlie's ice cream and stuff like that. What she said to me was, we talked about, because we're looking at putting a fence down the back, and her building's about 4 feet back from the lot line. And she said, Dan, I wouldn't put it right on the lot line. And because if at some time I sell, you don't want to have a shed sitting right on the lot line, you'd want it forward a foot or something like that. I said, absolutely, I agree with that. You know, so that was one conversation I had. I talked to Bruno. Who owns Uncommon Grounds, and I chatted with him, and I believe it's his wife and a lady that was with him. And then I also talked to the Wilcoxes about it, and their only concern was sound. And the hot tub that I've purchased has a sound pack in it. It's a silent running. It's got extra installation. It's got smaller motors, and that was all part of the studies I did looking at it. So I definitely took that into consideration, and so that's a lot of where I'm at.
Okay.
Are there any questions about?
So while Ryan has up the
Oh, sure.
image here.
Good, great.
Yeah, so this is your survey. Is this a survey?
This,
or
no,
a
this is
sketch of-
actually, this was a drawing done originally by Judy Hillman. And she did the regular, she did the original drawings for the house and what I was gonna have done with it.
So let's say we'll go back, I'd like to go back to.
Sure, there
survey
we go.
eventually, but because they flip one way and then the other, seemed like, but you're putting your intent is to put, where's the deck? The deck is
The
not
deck is
there
right
now?
here. Can I walk up to this?
Yeah.
Sure can. I can't, okay, sorry.
Just kidding.
No, I won't, okay. There's a line right here that goes here, and the deck comes down here, goes over, and then the spa sits here and here. And this is a 10 by 10 shed and an 8 by spa right there.
Okay, your porch, your covered porch right now.
My covered porch
It's right there.
is right here.
Yep,
Yes.
and then along the other side.
And then along the other side,
Right,
it
where you
continues
get-
along
okay.
there, yes.
Okay, there's no deck on that. That is a porch.
This is a porch.
Yeah.
This is covered, yes,
Yes,
and it comes down along that way.
but that is in theory an outdoor deck with a porch, right? With an
This
overhead
is
shed.
more of a deck. This will be closed in the sense that it's going to be screened.
Uh-huh.
So this will be screened and it will have storm windows I can put in and take out of it. And then this is actually a deck, so it won't be covered at all. I'm looking at getting, I can't remember the name of the company, but some, canvas to close it in just over the winter and stuff like that. But
So
it's an
you're-
actual deck you walk up onto.
So then you want to add a deck beyond that that back porch.
Well, I wanted to have a deck, but the deck, so you come out of here, you walk down 3 steps to that deck.
And that deck is not there now.
This deck is not there at all. No,
That's the one you want to add.
yes, it is. And
Okay,
it'll be ground level.
okay. And then you want to put the spa at the end of the deck and then the shed back to the back of the lot line.
In the back of the lot here. This is the lot line right in here. Yes, so this is 40 feet.
So let's go to a survey. Can we go to a survey now? So this is as built right now with a covered porch.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, And then you'll be adding the deck to the up, let's say the top part, middle, back. Yeah. So
So
this,
the deck will come right from here down
and then angle.
and then angle, and then there will be the shed here, and then, the shed will be back here and the spa will be right there.
So, and that leaves, let's say, the distance between, when you say 10 by 10, that's the way you're proposing, you're mentioning a 10 by 12.
I was just asking if there was a chance to get a 10 by
Right.
12, just
But-
space.
But if you, if I understand the way, I don't see any dimensions, so of the
Okay.
deck or anything. So, I don't really know if, let's say from that existing, I'm going to use an example.
Sure.
That existing porch to the back of your lot line, I'm going to call it 40 feet, right? You got a
It's
10, all
roughly 40 feet, yes, it is.
right, that was a guess. I'm gonna take 10 feet off for a shed.
Right.
We're down to 30.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take another 30 feet off,
There's
or
about
another 10
22
feet off,
yeah,
10 feet off
20
for the
some
hot
odd
tub.
feet left, yeah.
So there's 20 feet for a deck.
Yes.
That, does that fill that whole lot line, that whole area from your existing porch all the way back?
No, what'll happen is that it actually comes along here and then just a little angle and it comes down here. So this whole area here is open.
No, I didn't mean that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is it solid, everything from the front of your house all the way back? You've used up all the lot line, all the way along that north edge. There's nothing, there's no gaps.
Along the north edge. Yes, I would. Well, I mean, literally, where are we now?
Well,
Yes.
now you're looking at the south side, but.
Yeah.
You've got a couple feet
North side.
between the spa and the shed, it looks
Yeah,
like.
I got a couple feet between the spa and the shed there.
But other than that, the lot line is full.
Yeah, we've got,
Well, we
yes,
don't-
because where the house sits.
What we
right
don't,
there.
what we don't know is how much everything is, other than the 10 by 10 shed.
In the one,
So I don't know the difference, the distance of the deck you want to add, right? How big
yeah, it
is the
should,
deck?
if it isn't in this, I've got it. If you, go back to the other one. This is 28 feet here, from there to there.
From
From this spot to here, from the shed to here is 28 feet. That's 28 feet there. This is, it's not, this is 16 feet here, 16 feet here, and this is 9 feet, 9 feet. And I believe it's like 10 feet, so there's 30 feet
so
there.
you're 22, is that a 22 at the bottom?
That's actually a 28.
28.
When you
that's
guessed
20.
40, you were right on the nut. So there's 28, and then you got 10 feet there, so that's 38 feet total.
So the deck will go completely around the spa up to the shed like you've shown there?
Yeah.
Yes, I was looking at doing something like that.
Is the intent to put the spa at ground level and build around it, or to put it on top of
No,
the shed?
you know what, at times, seriously, I wanted it ground level just because I like the thought of a ground level, but no. What it is that I am looking at, the spa is 3 feet high. The deck comes up a foot. I'm looking at excavating a little bit. I'm gonna put, there'll be gravel down, then there'll be 4 by 6 or 6 by 6s that go underneath, and it'll sit, it might drop down a foot or something like that. Jeannie had double hip surgery last year. So what I want to do is I want to get the height of the spa so she can sit on and then bring her legs over. That's what I'm just mentioning it. So, yeah.
Okay, and then, so basically, there's no room to do a 10 by 12 unless the 12 went the other way.
I was only looking at coming out this way, 2 more feet there. Yeah, we come out that direction.
Which is more encroachment on the backyard setback. Okay. Okay,
Well, that's going, this is, right here is my driveway coming down here.
Right.
Yeah, so here's, Lisa's property right here,
mhm,
comes down to here. And then, literally right here is Uncommon Grounds. And then right here are the Wilcoxes next to us.
got it.
Yes.
Okay, well, I mean, but we may have some more questions.
Okay.
For the sake of myself, I don't know about the other board members at this time or in the audience, for the audience. I just wanted to, I wasn't really understanding exactly between the survey and the dimensioning and that layout, because one went one way, one went the other way and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
the way it laid out. Okay. Well, that at least gives us enough information, I think, to
Yeah.
go further into our meetings.
Okay.
All right. All right, if nothing else right now for the applicant, what I'd like to do is see if we have any public comments regarding the application. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make any public comments?
Do I have to get up?
No.
Well, it would be helpful because we're on Zoom. It would be.
Oh,
helpful.
okay.
You have a recording.
He has a hip problem, but
Oh.
I still felt that it's 40 to 50 down the street, and I got.
Oh, come on up, Sam.
So, this is why, they don't let older people be on these boards.
getting us warmed up for that one.
Sandra Randolph, 3442 Riverside Drive, Saugatuck Township. So I didn't come to approve this, but I would say that I would approve it as a neighbor. I have no objection to it, even though it doesn't really affect my lot line. Dan and Jeannie are wonderful neighbors. They are quiet. And I think that I can't say enough about how wonderful they are. So, yeah. So as long as I was here by mistake, I thought I might as well get up and say that.
So that's why Eric left. All right. All right. Thank you, Sandra. So in a sense, we had someone speaking for it in that sense. Were there, are there anyone else that would like to speak or
Anyone online?
against? And
I don't see anyone online, Mr. Chair.
they do that, we do that now with Zoom?
Mhm.
I get mixed up between on and
No,
off.
they can raise their hands.
Yeah.
They can certainly make comments via Zoom.
Okay, then any other correspondence, zoning administrator, that have been sent in other than what was submitted in our package that we are not aware of, that you know of?
Yeah, no additional correspondence aside from what's in your packet.
Okay, all right. And there was a support in reference from Dan's discussions and
Okay.
letters that he submitted with the neighbors of the
Yes,
Wilcox
yeah.
and everything like that, at least. Well, okay, let's see. So we've gone through any supporting, any opposing comments at this point in time. And our letters, any general letters, so we're through that. I would say that what I'd like to do at this time, I'd like to close that portion of the meeting and go to our deliberation.
Okay.
And let us start discussing some of the questions we may have for you, Dan. And amongst ourselves, any, concerns we have. I think there might
Okay.
be a couple of things, so.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very
Sit
much.
down, relax if you want. Okay. So we have some history here of prior, at least on one side, on the north side, I would say, of a variance that was given when there was a porch added. It does seem topographical, it seems like we're taking up a lot of space of narrow lot. So as Dan referenced, even the original reason for any type of consideration was the size of the lot, 40 feet rather than 66, which is our standard in our area. So one thing, lot coverage would be a concern, right? We mentioned a little bit about that. I did to Ryan and stuff. Do we know what the lot coverage with the additional changes comes out to as percentage?
Yeah, I haven't done those calculations. The previous zoning administrator, my understanding is had some discussions with Mr. Plum about that. I'm not sure if Mr. Plum has his particular lot coverage down yet. I will note, the deck portion, as long as it's not more than 24 inches above the grade, that doesn't count towards lot coverage.
If it's above 24.
Correct. So
Where this is
is
below
below,
according to Dave.
so that's one consideration, but I don't have the exact, so that's it's kind of up to the applicant to make sure that whatever he's proposing would meet that or request a variance from that. Yep.
So technically, we would be looking at the shed of lot coverage.
Mhm.
Yep. I guess, I'm not sure that the hot tub would not fall above that 2 foot NB of lot coverage, right?
Yeah, in-ground pools count towards lot coverage. So
Yeah. Do you know where your house, the percentage was prior to this, the lot coverage?
Yeah. May I look?
Sure.
So yes, that 3,800.
Is a lot
2475
area.
left. Yeah. Now that doesn't, this is the original survey I got done. So it doesn't have the. porch on it.
Prior to the,
Yeah. And the porch. Is. The house and deck together, I calculate like 1,600 square feet. Hot tub 100, spa 64, deck. I have it at 600, but that's at 1 foot, so
say the first part again. You said you had what, 1,600?
I had 1,685. The actual house itself is 1,125. And so you have, the deck is 560 square feet. For a total of 1,685.
That's the new deck or the existing deck?
That's the existing deck around the house,
Okay,
talking about that, so the house. So you have the house and then the deck, because here,
So you're at 28, that was at 28. You're 1685 and 1125 is 28.
no, I have 1,685 in the house and the deck.
Oh, house
That's
and deck,
House and deck, yes,
house and deck,
house
uh-huh.
and deck,
and existing, this deck. Or your,
that's including that deck,
this deck,
yes.
but then you added this portion, you added more out here.
No, this actually wasn't a deck, really. So you have, see, this was a concrete slab.
Okay,
My grandmother used to give tea on it. But so this, just the house. I have is 1,125 square feet. And then the deck that we put on that goes around it is like 560 square feet. Which gives you the total of 1,685,
okay,
which is the porch, yeah.
which is the porch.
which is the porch, yeah.
Where'd the 1125 come in?
That's the actual square footage of the house
Okay,
on the deck.
Wasn't there a 1685 or something?
1,685 is the total of the house.
total and the porch.
And the porch, yeah.
Okay,
and your lot is roughly 40 by 40 by
40 by
90.
90, yeah, it's like 3,700 square feet.
So your shed takes up 100.
And it's
Um,
about 64.
And let's just say another 100. So 1885.
I get it at, I took 1,685 for the house, 120 for the shed, assuming 10 by 12.
Yeah,
And I said 392 for the deck, which is 28 by 14. I don't know if that's,
Yeah, that would be right on.
but the deck's, if that deck's below 2 feet, it doesn't.
it doesn't count.
Doesn't count as-
So even with that in there, you get to 2197. He's got 3,600 square feet. That puts him at 61%, where 65% is allowed.
Yeah. Way he's within,
So are you guys nodding your head?
he's.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I hear your questions about that. I mean, ultimately, he hasn't requested a variance at this point from the lot coverage. Certainly a worthy question, and anything that, if whatever motion you make tonight, if it's for an approval to grant the variance, you can make a condition on him following or being in compliance with all other zoning requirements, which would
Sure.
include lot coverage.
So the one.
Dan,
so the
if you
one
wanna-
small change.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
get it at 61%. 65 is allowed in this zone.
It's,
Shed.
it's
that
supposed-
would be-
what helps is that 1 foot below, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. And even with that in, it's 61%.
It's, yeah, well, okay, right. Okay, I wanted clarity on that. I-
Okay, sure. No, absolutely.
About it.
Yeah.
So it'd
But
be
the
an extra
setback.
2 feet.
The,
Setback is zero.
okay,
Along the
and,
rear. Yep.
one other thing, I wanted to, let's see if I can get to my, screen here. Sorry about this, guys, technology.
Yeah, no problem. I get that.
So also on a hot tub, I wanted to, Ryan was supplied us with at least the definition. I don't know if Rich, you've seen it, or Jim, you may have also read it, but under section 154.022, hot tubs, spas, in-ground swimming pools, along with their associated or contiguous patio and decks may encroach into 1/2 of the required side or rear yard setback, but in no case shall be closer than 7 feet to any property line. No such structure shall be permitted in the front yard. Makes sense? The front yard. So wonder, the way that is saying that in no case shall a be closer than 7 feet to any property line.
Correct. Yep. And that's what he's asking for a variance from is
Bring it
that
up.
provision.
Right.
I could, can we bring the thing up again? Is it possible?
Sure
Yeah.
can, Yep.
Because I did not know that, but there's been a conversation and there's a reason for it. And, what if we took the spa because it's within 7 feet, like you were talking about? I'm just asking. Could we move the spa over here? And what that does is it gets it away from the Wilcox's property total. And it's not encroaching on any variance at all. So there'd be like 11, 12 feet over to there, and then obviously there's no encroachment back there. There was something we talked about before, but I didn't know that there was a 7-foot setback like that.
Where do you,
Oh, we could put it over here.
okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't interfere with you park your car.
No, because the parking's right down here.
Can you read this? May encroach half of the required side or rear yard. If you got a 10-foot side yard, it can go 5 feet into it, right?
Mhm.
But should be no closer than 7. They don't really add up, do they? I mean, it doesn't.
That's an interesting.
They're just saying if you got
I'm
a,
Polish, but I don't get
Yeah.
that one.
if you had a, yeah.
It's a general provision. It's under the general provisions.
Yeah.
So it's kind of some districts that would make sense. You're right on that, the language is.
We did have a similar situation with another case where it said it was regarding waterfront structures. In no case there shall be, or notwithstanding any other provision, there shall be no structures within 25 feet of the water. And our city attorney, we questioned, is that an absolute prohibition? And the city attorney clarified for us, our current Chris Patterson clarified for us that the ZBA has the authority to change that provision as well as any other provision in the zoning ordinance. So if we so choose, we could change this
Right.
provision.
And we could stick with, let's say, we could say, well, it says half, if he could be 3.5 feet or 3.5 feet from the property line on that side and meet part of it.
Yeah.
If you can be half the side yard.
I think the provision though ends with like, in no case, no closer. So I mean, that I think overrides the halfway.
Yeah.
Option. So that's essentially what the way it was noticed out and essentially what he's requesting is that
Right.
in no case should I be closer to 7 feet. I'm asking for relief from that. For the hot tub portion.
Well, that's that is what they're asking for.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm just
Yep.
saying that in our ordinance, we could give him we could say, forget all the ordinance, we're just gonna put it right straight right up to the property line with 0 setback. We could also, as Jim said, we could say, well, it also says no closer than 7.
True.
So, or we could say, well, if you go with half of the property line, he's getting a 3.5 foot setback or variance.
You could say, yeah, you're following that line of
There's a lot
reasoning.
different ways to look at that.
But you're just chewing up more of his yard. That's the problem.
Would it help at all in the conversation if I moved it here
Mhm.
and put it there?
I don't think it would help you at all.
Well, the thing is that I'm further away from Sandra also. Sound like something, well, no one here would do it. Well, let's see, the Wilcox's, one thing is, and because these have been the 2 places we've been thinking about putting it for a long time. Is that their actual bedroom window is right in around here.
Okay.
So that's part of the reason this was down as far as it was, right? And we talked about it and stuff. But with what we're talking now, to put it over there, it's actually closer for us to walk down and get into it during the winter. But and we put it there and put a privacy wall, maybe just along there.
If,
Yeah, I don't know.
if you did that, you wouldn't require a variance.
Right.
So,
For the spot.
For the spot.
yes, for the spot. So I would propose that we can deal with your variance that you're requesting here. And settle that. And then if you choose to put it somewhere else that doesn't require a variance, that's up to you.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
Yeah, no, that's
your
okay, great.
application is for it, so.
Yeah, no, true.
You
Okay.
can handle it that way.
I had a kind of a mundane thing that, it's in terms of maintenance of the patio, the decking structure and the hot tub. You know, if it's plastered right up against the wall and there's, I take it fencing there too. I mean, normally we would want to allow some entrance and egress for maintenance of a structure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna put it right up against. You'd have to see it.
It depends
On the last survey, that I got, the line. The Wilcox's fence and also Uncommon Grounds is about a foot over into their property. Okay. So even if I go 0, there's a foot there, but I'm not gonna go 0. I'll go further in. Because I've always taken care of cutting all the shrubbery and anything that goes up there and stuff like that. So I'll have space there so I can get through there and stuff like that. Definitely, I hear what you're saying, but
Well,
without.
I mean, I think that's kind of typical when a fence goes in that. Otherwise, you've got to trespass on you got to be on the neighbor's property to paint it. You know, if it's right.
Yeah,
up
no,
against-
I see what you're saying, sure.
But anyway, I don't even know if that's exactly in our purview
No,
in this.
Not really, but it's a good observation.
Right, see, I'm leaking over a little.
No.
But nevertheless, there is, I'm kind of mindful of some other things that were in there about the general public safety and that type of a thing in terms of relaxing these things for the justice, I guess it says, of your justice and the community and the neighbor's justice. Likewise, fire access, that type of thing
Yes, no, I understand that.
to your house and
Okay, everywhere. I mean,
the neighbor's house. I just wonder, does that even come into play here? I mean, we're blocking this off. Are we assuming that the fire people can get in there over the deck if they need to? And I mean, it is pretty low.
well, if you look at Sanders' property, there used to be a building in back. It was around, I think, 2015 that it burned down,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And they got right in through her lot, where her parking lot is, and got in there. And then they also came down Sanders or down Lisa's driveway and got towards the building, did an amazing job. With the Wilcoxes, they have their driveway that comes right down in, that they'd be able to get there. And also there's access, Uncommon Grounds comes all the way right back and they can access my yard, they can access the Wilcoxes, they can access, so they can get coverage as far as I know in there. Yeah. Because I won't be blocking the actual coming into down my driveway or with Sanders and stuff, so.
Okay. All right, let's, Jim, Rich, let's talk a little bit about any concerns on the deck or the questions on the shed, or what you might feel that might be important as a discussion before we go through our standards.
Yeah, I do. I looked at the zoning map today. And this lot is, the way this thing is drawn as south is at the top. That's where Good Goods is, up above him.
Mhm.
Good Goods. Yeah, let's
Just
do it
reverse.
this way, okay. Good Goods is city central zoning. It's a different zoning district than his house. And the properties beside, going up, what street is it right there? Mason Street. Which would be at the bottom. All of those buildings, Charlie's Ice Cream and Pumpernickel's are all city cultural center, and that section has 0 setbacks. So his neighbors have 0 setbacks. There's a house immediately behind him in what would be the northeast corner of the property that's about 4 feet from the property line, tucked in behind Charlie's round the corner. I was talking when I came in here, I've lived here 22 years. I never knew that was there. And I've been to Charlie's round the corner many, many times. And that house is only 4 feet from the property line. And that's a house that could be, they could do anything they want right up to the property line, because that house is commercial, city central. And across the street from Dan is Water Street South, which has a different set of zoning restrictions. So his house and the 2 houses north of him somehow have been carved out of the city central section. I don't know why or when that happened, but that's just the way the map is drawn. And the distance between his house and his neighbor's house, I think if you added the 2 together, you still wouldn't get the 7-foot setback that's required for this district. And all of those are grandfathered in, including the house behind him. That's 4 feet from the property line. It's a very private backyard. It's all fenced in. The house behind him has a solid wall going up 2 stories. It is, to me, perhaps the most unusual lot in the city.
Don't go too far. We got some pretty
We got some pretty unusual lots, but this one,
Yeah.
the only thing you don't have is a sand dune in your backyard.
So, okay, well,
I kind of looked at the area with my eyeballs as best I could one day, and I kind of concur with what you're saying. Everything is sort of all boxed in there, and which sort of brings to my mind with the aforementioned fire situation, and in some ways, I have no problem with the concept of this because of what we're talking about. It's all just landlocked in there, but it also kind of gives me the willies a little.
Well, you've got the driveway next to Charlie's round the corner for that house that's directly behind him. There is a driveway. Yeah, there's a parking lot back there.
And they actually just widened that. That driveway was widened.
Yeah, so there is good access into that backyard. You could get straight into his backyard.
I didn't think it was within my authority to just go snooping around down there, but it might be somewhat helpful even to have a little guided tour of the,
generally, one thing is if you, as a zoning board member, a lot of times you can go up, knock on the door and just say, I would like to look around, but we have done that in the past. And people are very good about it.
I did it in this case. I called Dan because I'd never been back there. I called
Yeah,
Dan
yeah.
and say, can you show me what you've got here and what it
Right.
is you're asking for?
I did it more surreptitiously.
You,
But yeah, but
Mr. Chair, if
Yeah.
I may, as a friendly recommendation. Should you approve this, you can make a condition that says that you have to follow all the other ordinances. For health, safety and welfare, which would apply to fire safety and emergency services. So that would then be a condition of the approval. Which would take care of your concerns.
yeah, and I realize I'm bleeding over in from strict ZBA purview probably to something maybe I shouldn't even be going, but.
No, that's
No,
nothing,
no,
there's nothing wrong with making.
But I'm thinking, I'm thinking fire hazard, I'm thinking the guy's could put a hot tub in there with electrical and water.
Yep, we have a whole different, there's a whole different set of people that are gonna look at.
Okay.
all that.
and just,
Even historical.
it's not in our 4 standards, but it is in the zoning enabling act that we are to make sure that public safety is
Right.
secured.
Yeah.
And that's why you can make a condition of the approval.
Right, okay. Well, as I was that was part of my list, the dimensions, which I couldn't quite understand, but I think those are spelled out pretty well in the.
So let me ask this to the board members, are you guys okay as we go through the standards? That we do it in the way that we are considering all 3 asks, the shed, the spa and the deck. As our review, as our comments, so we're not going through it every time on each one of those, we're looking at it as either to whether it meets the standards on. If it doesn't meet on any of the one, then that's a no.
Right.
But I meant, my point is, I don't think we need to go through the deck, go through the spa and go through the shed. We go through the standards with our discussions that do all 3 meet them.
Yeah.
Is that,
I would like to do that, yes.
and is that understandable to you then? Okay. It's kind of like an all or nothing. Kind of an all or nothing kind of a thing for you, okay? That's not so much, not done for just for timely, it's done for, or our minds are into one set of the way that standard reads, okay? Well, if you don't have any other questions or any other concerns at this point in time, how about if we go through the standards? That'd be all right?
Yep.
Jim, you want to start us with the first standard?
Yes, sir. That strict compliance with area setbacks, frontage, height, bulk, or density would unreasonably prevent the owner from using the property for a permitted purpose or would render conformity unnecessarily burdensome. I would say that this standard is met because while it would not prevent him from using the property, it would make conformity unnecessarily burdensome due to the size of the lot, which was platted in the 1920s and is grandfathered and legal non-conforming today. The lot is so small that to make this conforming would leave him with almost no usable yard at all. So I would say that conformance would be unnecessarily burdensome in this case, and the standard is met.
Okay. And anything with neighborhood conditions at all on that, or you feel?
I feel it's consistent with the other neighborhood conditions.
Which will come up on another, okay, yeah, so. Any comment on that? Richard, or
No, I
any
agree. I agree.
Disagree? You
No,
agree
I
on that?
agree.
Okay, I do too, that I believe Jim's comments and interpretation is understood. Rich, you want to read the second one for us?
Now, that a variance would do substantial justice to the owner as well as to other property owners in the district, or whether a lesser relaxation would give substantial relief and be more consistent with justice to others. I believe that condition is met. I'm a little intrigued by the the possible offer of the moving of the hot tub spa, but I believe essentially that the plan as presented still meets that standard.
Yeah, I think that the justice, of course, to the property owner under this, we relate back to the situation of the lot size again, of course. It parallels, a lot of times when we read these, there's a lot of things that parallel the same situations. And that reflect another standard. Sometimes one standard jumps out a way of it, but on the other hand, to me, it parallels the same reasons of standard number one also, that it would be met.
I would say that with respect to justice to others, all of the adjacent neighbors have approved this.
Right.
We
Yeah, we-
even have one additional one tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that the neighborhood, as you mentioned with the other zoning right around it, it's almost unnatural. And then complicated with the lot size. All right, I would like to read standard number 3, that the plight of the owner is due to unique circumstances of the property and not to general neighborhood conditions. Always interesting when we read these, because that one pretty much to me reads, yes, it does meet it. That is exactly what we've been talking about. It is unique circumstances, and it not to, the requests that they're looking for are, as Dan used the word, are all, approved uses to have a shed, a deck, very common uses. So I personally think that it meets that standard also. Any other?
I would
discussion?
agree.
Yeah. Rich?
I'm sorry. I was thinking about,
You're on to the next one.
well, I was ruminating back on ones we've already done, which happens with me sometimes.
That's all right.
But no, I agree.
All right.
They're all kind of unique there, but this one's the most unique.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what all right, Jim, you want to do the fourth one for us?
That the problem is not self-created or based on personal financial circumstances. I would say this standard is satisfied and fully met because the problem is not self-created. The platting of the lot goes back to the 1920s. And as far as personal financial circumstances, the applicant has invested a great amount of money in restoring a historic home in the community and is trying to make it useful and usable and to fit in and to maintain the character of the town. And I commend them for that. So I would say the standard is fully satisfied.
Yeah, and I bring back the adjacent zoning that creates some of this non-freedom for them, but it's consistent with the neighborhood.
Yes.
Also, it's just the way it works,
I agree with all that.
Okay, well, let's see, it appears that in our review that that most of these standards were met. We had a couple of notes here, and mostly on lot size, neighborhood conditions. We had adjacent properties, of course, and the fact that it was an old plotted lot way back before our standards as far as standard lot sizes were ever established. So I don't know if there's anything else you guys feel that you need to discuss. I believe that a motion to approve based on our review would say that, would be that it met all 4 standards and that some of the the notes that have been mentioned for those reasons would be the reasons that we just discussed. There's also this situation where we talked about making sure that we note in a motion that it does have to meet all the underlying ordinances, health, safety, and any other city ordinances prior to any kind of a building approval.
So if I could, a question for Brian or Jake, if Jake is still with us. Does the motion need to include a recitation of the findings of fact, or can it reference those as will be summarized in the meeting minutes?
The motion doesn't necessarily have to go through all of the findings of fact. Again, I think if they're already on the record, they're going to be in the minutes. I think that's sufficient to just basically state, for the reasons stated on the record.
All right, thank you, Jake.
You bet.
Okay.
Okay.
Hanging out with us for so long.
Okay, well, is there any other further deliberation that, other than making a motion based on our findings?
No,
No?
I'm satisfied.
Sure.
Is there a comment or thought on it being a 10 by 12?
That would fall under the lot coverage part of it. So as long as your lot coverage is good, this is my take on it.
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, because we're doing the rear and the side, so,
If we
but,
give,
but I would rather make
Yep.
sure that our
Zero
motion
and zero.
defines what that is, not over. Because we don't want to give you a rear yards, we don't want to give you freedom to cover the backyard, the back.
Oh, no, I understand that.
So, we want to make sure that it references no greater than. Let's put it that way. Because otherwise you could fill the whole backyard full of it. Because if we gave it to you across the back.
Jim, you know what I meant, Jim first was building houses here and stuff like this, we talked about things. And just some part of the project isn't working. And it's just nice to move forward with this and, the 10 by 12 shed.
Got a little
so
smaller.
much.
I know.
I understand. I've looked at those sheds. I understand.
Yeah. No, I- Shit, very good. I can do that.
Okay.
all right,
Mr. Chair, you might already have it. There, we do have a sample motion if you want to consider that and modify the language, as you suggested, move to approve a no greater than 10 by 12 foot shed.
I personally would not, not have a problem doing the 10 by 12. I don't know if any of the other board members have a problem with that or not.
I have no problem with the 10 by 12.
I don't have a problem either. I'm sorry to not go along with you though on the first night.
On the first one?
First night here.
Oh, that's all right. No, that's all right. No, that's all right.
I don't see a whole big difference between 10 by 10 and 10
No.
by 12, but you kind of do.
Well, no, I don't.
Oh,
No, I don't. No, I said I don't have a problem with.
oh,
with 10 by
okay. I misinterpreted
Yeah.
what you said.
No, I don't have a problem.
No, I don't have a problem with that either.
As long as my point was, I don't want to say, he can go along the back all the way 40 feet across, see?
You don't want to say 10 by 12, I heard 10 by 16. And I fully understand.
I don't want you to think you got a variance,
No.
a zero setback for the backyard.
Well, in order to do that, though, don't you need to situate it a certain way to that the 12 goes this way?
The 12 goes north and south.
Right.
Well,
And
he's eating up his deck if he puts it the other way, so he'd
Yeah.
be shooting himself in the foot.
is there going to be an official site plan or what, a plan with dimensions to this effect that would be entered as part of the record?
Right, so, yep, he was still, will need a zoning permit to, based on, obviously, if he's granted his variances, those will be kind of some newer conditions, as far as the setbacks go, but yes. So we'll need a zoning permit that we will look at all the other zoning requirements, ordinance requirements that are required, lot coverage, those sorts of things. And then obviously the Historic District Commission will have to take a look as well.
Okay.
I believe it there is, secondary building that's 120 square feet, I don't think we need a permit. But it's also, it's not, anchored or anything of the sort, so it is, if there's a problem, it can be. moved.
There is an application you have to fill out for the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because you're gonna have deck work done, things like that. So that definitely requires a zoning permit. Yep.
oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, I see. what you're saying. Okay.
Okay,
Okay, are we ready?
we're ready. If you're ready. You want to go
Sure.
ahead?
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve application number V 22008 for the application of a 10 by 12-foot shed with a 0-foot side and rear yard setback instead of the minimum 10-foot requirement at the rear and 7 on the side, and a deck with a 7-foot a deck with a 0-foot side setback instead of the minimum 7-foot setback, and a hot tub with a 0-foot side setback instead of the required minimum 7-foot setback, with placement and construction consistent with the photo and materials submitted with the variance application. This motion is conditioned upon the applicant meeting all other required zoning requirements.
Zoning requirements, yeah. I think you got most of it in, well, you got all that in there and you got the ending in it. Any observations to that? Anything, Richard, that you can think that he missed?
If I missed it, we need to make sure we have a second on that. Yep.
In the second before you go,
No, we haven't done that yet.
right, you need to
I
have
know.
a second and go into discussion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I need a
Motion.
second. I'm sorry, second. Okay.
I'll
sorry.
second.
You'll second it, yeah. Okay. Then any discussion? Any discussion on anything we left off?
I'm satisfied.
Okay. All right, well, we have a motion and a second, and we're all set from discussion. We'll call for the vote.
All right, Crawford,
Yes.
Bowell,
Yes?
and Kabasiak.
Yes,
All right, motion carries.
so motion carries. You'll sleep better tonight.
Go. Thank you. Thank you.
I just don't want to hear you snoring at my house.
No, no. Yeah, really.
We'll call Jeff. Okay, thank you very much for your time and your application. And good luck on your project.
And thank you for giving us specific answers to all 4 questions. Sometimes people don't do that.
Yeah.
So you actually honestly addressed everything in there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It was relatively easy application
Yeah.
to read.
Was.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
you know that. Yeah. You know, like, are we still being recorded?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, well, my grandpa spent years. Years. You know, and yeah, find his name on the wall here and stuff, so if I'm walking over those.
Yeah.
You know, it's really neat stuff.
I
Cool.
I
Thank you very
understand
much, everyone.
Thanks, Dan.
Great rest of you.
that Roscoe or,
Roscoe,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
All right, we're down to done with our unfinished or our new business, sorry. Item number 5 is any unfinished business. Have any unfinished business that we know of?
We do not. We have at least one case for next meeting and potentially 2.
Same, the 60/40, 650 coming up?
If they finish up providing some clarifying information that we requested a couple days ago, if they provide that information at least by tomorrow, then we should be able to get notice out on Monday on that one. Yep.
Do you have another one besides that one?
Yes.
All right, so we'll plan on. I personally will be out of town, but I know that right now, so, but we have a couple to work on, sounds like.
Coming back up.
Back up?
Yeah, it seems that she left her phones on.
Yep, right there. All right, any item number 6, communications. Any communications that we have, other than you made that comment, so nothing on that. We'll move on to public comments. Is there anyone out there, not in here, but anyone outside on Zoom at all, Ryan?
Nope, no one out there.
So,
Except Jake Whitting's still hanging out with us. Jake, you can go now, friend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Jake.
Appreciate you.
Hey, you bet, guys. See you around.
Yeah.
Okay, any ZBA comments? Any comments here between us? I thought, you guys are starting to put together some information, fine. I call it Ryan Square. And that's not personal, it's, you
Yeah.
know.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, you're starting to do some things for us, that's good sign. And, anything we can help with, we're happy to pitch in.
Thank you.
So we appreciate the communications and requests of reviewing things. That's been nice. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
you guys have any other comments for the night?
No,
No? Well, then we'll adjourn at 7 something,
8:07.
8:08, yeah, 8:07. Okay. Thanks, guys.
okay.
All right,
Thanks, you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And then would you, as far as that form, will we clean that up? Is that something we want me to come by and sign or do that tonight, or you want to wait till after the?
Yeah, that'll have to be cleaned up and I'll work on that tomorrow or Monday at the latest, and then I'll